Today is kind of special, and it's not on my bingo card. My cousins and I are going to visit one of our aunts. She lives in a city that is a 2-hour drive away from here. She is in the final stage of pancreatic cancer. It means today is gonna be the last day, last time, last chance to see her and the rest of our life. Durian is a fruit that symbolize the bond between my cousins and all my aunties. Our traditional family gatherings always involve buying tons of durians and sharing them together. We don't usually eat on the curb like this, but we were in a rush, trying to find an e-charging station for the car. We found one in a very old local community where you could hear people speaking in their dialect and laughing about the tea they were sharing. Here are some very traditional Chinese paintings on the wall. Reminds me of feudal China and the old times I learned about in textbooks. We are on our way to pick up the flower bouquet we ordered online. My cousin was a bit surprised that the flower shop looked so different from the description of its location. The alleyway kept getting narrower as we drove in. Here are the flowers we picked for her. We think they perfectly capture her essence. Soft purple and elegant champagne roses. A beautiful reflection of who she is. On the way there, we shared some stories and memories our aunts left us. She divorced my uncle 15 years ago, and we barely stayed in touch after that. But we've remained close-knit with her kids. We decided to write her a letter to tell her how much she meant to us. We saw a car covered in patriotic notes for China. It immediately caught my attention, and I thought people outside of China would find it so interesting. But then I realized I've seen people in America do this type of things. American flag in front of the front porch in their yard, or American flag sticker on their car. Then we arrived at the hospital. We didn't feel much out of respect. The illness is eating her up, and she looks so different. It's heartbreaking. A few years ago, she finally found her true love, someone who has been by her side, caring for her every step of the way. He massages her when the painkiller doesn't work and sold everything to support her. Despite everything, she's still the gentle, giggly, hilarious aunt from our childhood. There was a lot of catching up, a lot of tears, and a lot of hugs. It was so hard to leave and say we were going back to our normal lives because it meant saying a forever goodbye. That night, when we were driving back to ZhongShan, we were all quiet. I ordered the same noodles from the same place again. Not sure if it's a fixation or obsession. I also got a traditional Hong Kong mochi to go with it. The only downside was the plastic spoon they gave me. It smelled like plastic. So I have to ask the hotel front desk to offer me some utensils. Today is my last day in ZhongShan. I've got a ticket for tonight, but I still have a few hours to queue before then. Next up, I'll show you a bit of where I grew up, where I used to live, and some interesting stories along the way. Let's start with the weather. I don't like Canton's weather, to be blunt. The ridiculous humidity is something else. And if I stay in Canton long enough, my skin tone starts to look yellower. Yes, yellower. You didn't hear me wrong. Like I'm being simmered by the hot steam. The overall vibe in ZhongShan is that people are super nice. Almost too nice. I often feel like whenever I go out with a plan, it ends up changing because you can't really live life exactly how you want it when other people are involved, I mean. For example, if you say you're not hungry in a group of people, no matter how hard you try to say no, you will end up with a bubble tea or some cookies in your hands, and then you would be like munching away and wondering how it even happened. When it comes to being altruistic, from what I've known and experienced, countries influenced by Confucian philosophy seem to be more focused on altruism. A big part of that is Confucius's golden rule. Don't do to others what you don't want done to yourself. We grow up hearing this stuff on textbook. Teachers are talking about it all the time. Our parents are preaching it all the time, like it's programmed into our brains before we even develop a proper sense of judgment. It just sticks with you and shapes how people treat each other, especially in those countries who are highly, deeply influenced by Confucius culture. Of course, I'm not saying everyone in these countries practices what they preach. I found a little coffee stand right across from my mom's house, and there's the 1+1 supermarket where we used to do all our grocery shopping. After that, I'm going to take you to my high school safe space, a place I used to go when I didn't want to come home because the house was full of argument and abuse. It wasn't always by choice though. My school bus often dropped me off near there, so I'd end up staying. Here it is, a spar that's been around since I was in high school. Back then, it was only 148 RMB. And it seems like they've only added 20 RMB to the price after all these years. It's open 24 hours. They will give you unlimited fruits. It's like a fruit buffet thing. And there's a huge lobby with massage chairs, each of them with a TV attached to it. And after 11 p.m., they would turn off the lights and people would just crash there. One thing I find a bit unpleasant is that drivers here can be really rude. They honk for no reason. If you are crossing the street slowly, they honk at you. The driving manners are so different. You can feel the road rage in the air. This is a very isolated community in ZhongShan, and it's quite versatile. There's a lot of restaurants and supermarkets in here. A lot of stories have come out of this community that reflects the shady side of Chinese culture and history. The typical pattern goes like this. When a family becomes financially stable, the father often cheats on the mother, and the mom usually waits and try to win back their husband. And most of the time, the mysteries of the story is someone way younger, like the daughter's age. These households tend to have a lot of fights and arguments, and some mothers even resent their child, like mine. There's no official study or research on this, probably because it's considered more drama, gossip than anything else. And we are living it firsthand. But not every family out there is like this, don't get me wrong. And also don't turn it into a stereotype. I think part of it comes from feudal China, where a man could have multiple wives or concubines as a way to show their power and abundant resources. Polygamy was only banned in China in 1950, which really wasn't that long ago. I guess some people still lag behind because of those old traditions and the pull of history. This is a path I used to ride my bike on a lot. Sometimes if my school bus dropped me off at this gate, I walk and wander around here. This path is filled with a mix of good and bad memories. My favorite person in my family has always been my nannies. I used to sleep with them, cook with them, and do chores with them. My second favorite is my dad, even though he wasn't a good husband. He's a kind person overall who never speaks harshly to anyone and always took care of me. But that doesn't justify he cheated. He's a cheater. What my mom went through being cheated on doesn't justify how she treated me or the things she ever said to me. For a while, it was impossible for me to even comprehend that she's my biological mother. I'm not trying to say I'm a victim. This is just part of my life, and there's more to it. When I got older, I started to understand that my mom had a lot of pain inside of her. She needed someone to take it out on, and I guess I was the easiest target since we didn't have much of emotional bond. It was different with my sister. My mom loves her and sees her as my dad's favorite child, and in a way, Her love for my sister symbolized their marriage. It started raining, and I saw someone who looked like my mom walking in that direction. I panicked and started running. Then I took a taxi to the bus station where I will be taking a bus to Hong Kong tonight. All this reminds me of my middle and high school days, when I used to stop by a bakery before catching the bus to school.
呢層係脆嘅合桃，
但就有啲太大啊！
大得
我對嗰個都幾有興趣，但我唔知佢入邊係咩嚟嘅。
呢個南瓜餡。
南瓜
啊。
OK。
In the end, I got my favorite mochi bun.